Starting an e-commerce business is easy. In fact, it's easier than it's ever been. Sounds like I'm about to go into some kind of sales pitch here, doesn't it? But I'm not. But it is easier than ever before to start an e-commerce business. Let me explain why. Because it's easier to find products to sell online. There's tools to help you find these products. It's also easier to connect with suppliers. A few searches on Google and you can connect with suppliers from all corners of the world. It's also easier to build a website than it ever has been, because all you need is a domain name and to sign up to something like Shopify and BigCommerce, and basically they will hold your hand through the whole process of building a website. You don't need to know any kind of code in order to build an e-commerce website. And even when it comes to payments, it's easier than ever to get paid. Because when I started in the world of e-commerce nearly a decade ago, basically for websites, if you wanted a pay-as-you-go option, there was PayPal. That was basically it. But you look at today and there are so many different options available. There's things like Stripe, there's Amazon Pay, there's mobile first payments like Apple and Google Pay. It's just so much easier to get paid and offer your customers lots of different payment options. So it is so easy to start an e-commerce business. But, and this is probably where I'm going to get the most dislikes on this video, because I'm going to be honest for a second here. It's not so easy to make one successful. In fact, it can be quite difficult to make an e-commerce business successful. But why is that? One of the reasons is exactly what I just talked about, which is the barrier to entry to starting an e-commerce business is getting lower and lower every single year because it's becoming easier. And when things become easier, it becomes more accessible to everybody. And the more accessible it becomes, the more likely people are to go and start that business. And that leads to more competition. The more competition there is, the more difficult it is to be successful in that space. Let alone when you throw in the behemoths like Amazon, who have not made e-commerce easier for the normal person trying to start their own business. But this isn't going to turn into a rant about Amazon. But it's just getting much more competitive in every single niche, which means more competition. It's becoming more difficult to become successful. But there's one big mistake I see e-commerce businesses make, and I was guilty of this as well. And this is they build their e-commerce website, don't focus on the marketing. So they build it and then go, how am I going to get people to my site? And what you want to do is you actually want to kind of flip this on its head a bit. Yes, you want to get all your branding sorted. So you want to get your domain name, your social media accounts, things like that. But then the main thing you want to focus on is your marketing strategy. How are you going to get people to your site? Because traffic is the most important thing when it comes to websites. Because the more traffic you have, usually the more sales you have, unless there's something really wrong with your site. So traffic is the most important thing. So think, how are you going to get your traffic? Now, quite a common way of doing it, and this is just a generalization, is in the early stages, you want to be running ads on your site. So you're going to be running Facebook ads, ads on other social media platforms, Google ads, because this is a proven way to get traffic in the early stages of your website, because you're paying to get your website in front of your target audience. And then you want to also think of a long-term strategy as well. So start implementing SEO. So in 6, 12, 18 months, however long it takes for your store to start ranking, you'll also start getting organic traffic as well. And most businesses end up with a kind of hybrid system of traffic. So they're getting traffic from paid ads and also organic search as well. Now it can be done totally with SEO, but it does take time and a lot of effort in order to be able to do this. So it is the important thing. You want to be focused on your marketing strategy before you even think about building your website. Another thing you can do is start marketing your website before you've even built it. Start generating some buzz for your site, because what you want to do is you want to hit the ground running. When your website launches, you want people to already be interested in your product. And this is what some successful businesses do really, really well. They build this kind of anticipation around their site. So when things launch, they've already got customers lined up. Because if you just build it and then do the marketing, your site's just going to be sat there for ages costing you money, because you're paying your subscription every single month and it's not doing anything. It's not generating you any income because you're not getting any sales. So focus on the marketing first. Another thing is, when it comes to building your website, don't get obsessed over the minor details. This is another thing I see a lot of people do, and once again, I've done the exact same thing. They get obsessed with the tiniest little thing, which in the grand scheme of things isn't going to make much difference. These little design tweaks here and there. What you want to do is focus on basically just making a website that looks good, fits your brand, but more importantly works. It's easy for people to get onto your site. It's easy for people to go through your checkout and get to that order confirmation page so they've become a paying customer. Focus on the functionality of your site. Make sure it works and it works well, because all the other stuff you can take care of later. And once you know that it's working well, the main priority is getting traffic to your site. Because when you start getting traffic to your site and you're getting consistent traffic to your site, that's when you can start making tweaks to your site. So you can start improving your conversion rate, your upsells, your average order value. Those are things you can do at a later date. But the first thing you want to focus on is getting that traffic and make sure it's easy for customers to check out on your site. And my second piece of advice is be careful who you follow. The reason why I say this is because there's a lot of information out there around the world of e-commerce, and there's lots of people who do very clickbaity videos of how I got to $10,000 a week in 3 months. Now, this is the exception. It's not the norm when it comes to e-commerce. Now, it can be done, and I've known people who have done it, but the people who are generally very successful and can do this usually have a history of digital marketing. They've either worked for e-commerce businesses and they've learned how to run an e-commerce business through working through one, or they've worked for a digital marketing agency, so they've learned how to run this. They've learned how the marketing aspect of an e-commerce business works on somebody else's dime, so it's easy to implement that on their own website. But a lot of people who are actually getting started in the world of e-commerce have never worked in digital marketing. I know I hadn't. And they're basically learning that as well as learning everything else that comes with running an e-commerce business. So don't expect this to be the norm. And just because you haven't hit $10,000 a month in the first 3 months doesn't mean to say you're a failure. You're learning how to do things. And also be careful as to what the intention of a lot of these people are. Because I've watched quite a few videos on e-commerce. It's something I do to see what's going on in the industry. And a common thing around these videos where they go, oh, how I got to X amount in X amount of days, weeks, months, whatever it is because they've got a course that they want to sell you. And I'll let you in on a little secret. It's probably more profitable for them to run their e-commerce course than it is to run their e-commerce business. It's probably why they're pushing it so much. It's just the way it works. Online courses are incredibly profitable to run. And that's why they're always in the descriptions, in the pinned comments, etc. of these videos. Check out our course. They're usually promoting it through the video as well. So be careful who you follow. And when you are learning these skills, and I would recommend focusing on an individual skill when you're learning it. So if you're going to be running Facebook ads, learn how to run Facebook ads. Watch videos on Facebook ads, read blog posts, take specific courses on Facebook ads. But when you are taking courses, do your research into those courses first. That's where sites like Udemy can be really good, because you get the social proof of people have actually reviewed these courses. Now, it's not a guarantee that it's going to be a fantastic course, but seeing that lots of other people have taken it and lots of people have reviewed it is usually a good signal that there's some informative content in that course. Because a lot of these guru courses don't include that much information. If you go and watch genuine reviews on them, most people say it's quite generic information that you can just get from anywhere on the website. So when you are learning these skills, focusing on learning a specific skill. And learn as much as you can about that skill as well. So if you're going to be running Facebook ads, learn just about Facebook ads. If you want to run Google ads, learn specifically about Google ads. Because even though there are some things that kind of cross over in the way these work, they are individual skills that you need to learn. And if you want to master them, you're going to have to spend some time learning about them. So just be careful as to who you follow and what information you actually consume around learning these particular skills, because not everybody's got the best intentions in mind. Now, before anybody asks, I can't provide any information on running ads, because honestly, I've never run a paid ad in my life, which is kind of shocking for somebody who's been in e-commerce for as long as I have. But I focused on SEO and learning pretty much all I could about SEO. So if you'd like me to do any SEO related content, let me know in the comments. Also, if there's any specific SEO things you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. And if I do know about it, I will get around to making a video or reply to you, whatever it is. Now, I hope this video hasn't come across as being negative, because that's not my intention with these videos. But I have had comments on other videos where I've given what I think is honest information and people have said I've been a bit negative. That's not my intention at all. My intention is to give honest, actionable advice. and not sugarcoat things, because I appreciate it when people don't sugarcoat things with me when I'm asking for information. So I don't do that when I give information. I will say things as I see them. And the way I see it is, the more successful you guys are with your businesses, the more successful I've been with my business, which is providing e-commerce related content. And I think that makes sense. But the takeaway from this video is, well, I hope the takeaway you get from this video is that your marketing is hugely important, because you want to get targeted traffic to your website, because the more traffic you get, generally the more sales you're going to get. And that's the most important thing. And marketing can be the thing that makes or breaks businesses. It doesn't matter whether it's e-commerce, blogging, whatever it is. Traffic is king when it comes to websites, because the more traffic you get, let's say, usually the more sales you get. And when you've got the traffic sorted, then you can start sorting out the other things, your conversion rate, so you get more people going through your checkout, increase your average order value with upsells, things like that. Those are things you can focus on at a later date. Even the design aesthetics of your store are things you can do at a later date, but make sure the functionality is there with your website. So I hope this video has been helpful, and it's helped give you maybe some ideas to think about when it comes to launching your e-commerce business, to hopefully give you a better chance of success. If it has, a like on the video would be absolutely awesome, because it helps me out with the almighty YouTube algorithm. So thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next one.